if it were less complex. When you hit a bottleneck, you're able to recap and evaluate what led you to it. This is a classical explanation of something that can be really complex. This complexity is known as the shape of entropy, and how shapes of entropy are in a complex plane, either strong or weak. This is a giant scope of what you could look at as how, if the whole universe didn't have like an opinion of how it likes its energy use. I think that's a great bias. So this net neutral, or just neutral in general, is a thing that your body operates your cells like they want to be alive, but you're not making decisions for them. So I think that's like a ultimate neutral ground. All atoms trying to get to a ground state. That's one name of the game, and they'd like in quantum mechanics to have like this classical way of explaining all of it. And I think those two features I just explained with the cell and the universe, and them being one of non-biased large system, is exactly what the phenomenon of quantum explained classically would need. So when it comes to chemistry, you've got to understand that there's still gray area to be had. Figured out what is the reason for bizarre situations. Specifically, one in general is that anything heating would cause freezing if it's addition. From pressure being the output input of function. And this happens with the HE quantum statistic. HE is like a chemical, I think, and that with a 3 on top of the H in front of it, E, is this example. So in the shape of a liquid and a solid having entropy as like an action, the situation of those instead of the situation of the material that a liquid solid's made up of has a specific area of interest when it is like cooling, but then all the stuff that is hot reverts to, if it's excess, it'll cool. And so that's like a swip swap superconductivity, all having to deal with pressure. So entropy is gaining symmetry of shape transformations, but just using entropy as a key feature instead of the material, which is interesting in how there's like on your neck the biggest vein is a jugular, and in your brain there's like the shape of deer antlers if there were jugulars going through your brain in the left and right hemisphere, and they're symmetric. So when you look at Mortal Kombat number 11, Kronika's Crown, it's no surprise that that's almost the same image. In 3C printing, they call it like a ring or something. I forget the medical term for it, but it's definitely Kronika's Crown inside out instead of in your brain. Universe would love to be like recycled properly. What I mean by this is energy used. I take this all back. Let's start over. I think the universe would like it if it was all just being used with not itself being recycled, so it didn't have to do like hard calculations. If it were, so wildlife is instead of carbon, it's more important like the blood barrier sphere around your brain and the thing that goes through it that has the main passages of blood are just as important as carbon being the impetus of the life. Most prevalent. What's the shape of that mean? I got a lot of questions with like the shapes of things, mainly double helixes. Why aren't they quadruple? Well, life had to find a shape somehow. And just the fact in life isn't the shape of a skull and crossbones, but there's a club that makes it. What's the difference of the two?